this idealized place in your head, and that's not what it is. You live in a slum.
Yep. And then we actually cut right to, I love the fact that the song gets right into things, and Mark stands up.
Dearly beloved, we gather here to say our goodbyes. Here she lies, no one knew her worth. The late great daughter of Mother Earth. On these nights when we celebrate the birth in that little town of Bethlehem, we raise our glass, you bet your ass to La Vie Boheme. La Vie Boheme.
Dearly beloved, be glad they're here to say our goodbyes. And that we know we're getting into things. And I love Mark in this song. Mark is amazing in this song. Beginning to end, for me, is like almost the all-star of this song for me.
Oh, yeah.
Roger and Collins get up, and they actually, the lines are actually a Latin hymn and a prayer, which translate actually to Lord have mercy. Extended. Two different variations, but pretty much what it translates into. So, that's cool. The one actually change between the Broadway show, obviously because they'd be translated to 3 days, is one lyric change. And that was where Mark actually says, on this night where we celebrate the birth in the little town called Bethlehem. In the Broadway show, they have night because it's Christmas Eve. In the movie, we're on the 27th or 26th. So, it is days and nights that we celebrate.
On these nights.
Yeah, on these nights. Which I like the detail. A little detail that I call on the soundtrack immediately because I know this song so well.
Right.
And then we raise our glass, you bet your ass, and then we have Maureen mooning Betty and Mr. Gray, which it's hysterical. That I love the fact that they actually kept that in the movie and they actually zoomed in on her ass. It's just so like, why are we doing this? It makes no sense, but fine. Let's just ham it up more. Why not?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And I like to make a note that in the BuzzFeed article it says, if you don't know what Absolute is, it is a vodka. I like the fact that it's in the notes in here from BuzzFeed. All right, so this is where things get fun. I actually did not know a lot of these names when I was growing up, and I know you probably didn't either, because we were so young at the time. Did you know Maya Angelou when you were younger?
Yes, I did know Maya Angelou. I believe we had studied Where the Caged Bird Sings like my junior year of high school.
Fair enough. For those who don't know, younger people or people that are coming in here, like who are the people we're talking about? African American poet, actress, and civil rights organizer. Very important person in our history. My favorite part of Mark here, and I love the fact that they kept this in between this. Oh, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. This is the song they performed at the Tony Awards.
Yep.
This is the song. It is Season of Love and this. And they actually brought it back for the 10-year anniversary of the Tony Awards also. I forgot to bring that up. But I always cracks me up, Creation, Vacation, Mucho Masturbation, where Mark gets up and started racking on the table. Like, wow! Who wrote that in there to do that? And then he keeps doing it, which is even funnier.
Yes.
To Sontag, to Sondheim, to Anything Taboo, Susan Sontag, and obviously Stephen Sondheim, who we've already talked about Stephen Sondheim. Susan Sontag, did you ever hear that name when you were younger?
No, I did not. I did not know who Susan Sontag was until after I had already heard this.
Yes, same with me. For those, obviously, Polish-American essayist and critic, whose best known text is on photography. She contributes some substantially to the dialogue surrounding the AIDS crisis, which obviously is where we're in. Ginsberg, Dylan, Cunningham, and Cage. Obviously, Bob Dylan. If people know who Bob Dylan is, you have problems. Not going to lie. Legendary. Allen Ginsberg, another poet,
Right.
That's a name I didn't know, actually, for a long time. Means Cunningham, a choreographer and dancer who founded the Merce Cunningham Dance Company.
That one's still I think that's like the most esoteric reference in the entire thing.
I have one of those things where I think it was just somebody that Jonathan Larson wanted to reference
Right.
at that point. And then John Cage, American composer, most famous for his work 433, which is 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence.
Yep.
I actually did not know that one at all.
That one we actually listened to. That was a joke that my composition professor played on us my sophomore year of college.
Oh, that's funny. I like that. That is funny.
He brought us in and he was like, we're going to listen to some John Cage. And there were a couple of people who knew what was up. I was not one of them. And I think he had an actual vinyl version of it. So he puts the needle on the record, put the needle on the record. And we sat there for 4 minutes looking at each other like, what are we doing?
That's hysterical. Yeah. That's a really funny gag. It reminds me of people remember the band Bowling for Soup. They did this in 1985, and there's a song on their album that's literally a minute of silence. And the joke my friend Joe set this joke up one time. We're having a barbecue in his backyard. He's like, I'm going to play this song. It is the 10 best things about New Jersey. And it's on the album. It says this. It's a track title, the 10 things about New Jersey. And he presses play in 1 minute of silence.
Wow.
Like, wow. That's a thing on an album. They used to try putting it out there just for a joke. There's no reason that's fair. All right. Where were we? We were on
Lenny Bruce. Next.
Lenny Bruce is absolutely. They're the name I knew. Actually, they're the name I always know.
Yes.
Legendary fun. And actually, I want to know. And here is for those who don't know, was convicted of obscenity for his agenda-driven stand-up work. Was pardoned in 2003.
Yep.
37 years after his death. Langston Hughes.
That was one I knew.
You knew, okay.
Yes, we had studied some of his poetry in high school as well. I think around the same time that we were studying Maya Angelou.
Fair enough. I like the notes in here. By the way, BuzzFeed did a great job with this article. I'm just going to keep saying that because they're amazing with this one. I usually don't call him at BuzzFeed much, but this one I give him praise for. But it says commonly considered the leader of the Harlem Renaissance. So there you go. Very fitting for where we are. Moving back into this, to the stage, to Uda to Buddha. How do I remember saying this one right? Pablo Neruda.
Right.
And then Why Dorothy and Toto Went Over the Rainbow, obviously, a Wizard of Oz reference. But the other ones we have Uda Hagen. There you go. Thank you. As people know from my other show, I'm very bad with pronunciations. If anyone wants to laugh.
If anyone has listened to any of my podcasts, I am the guy. I am the go-to guy for pronunciations.
Yes, there have been 2 episodes in the last year on the Blakens House show, and they're both in June. One was my Tony Awards preview show, where Matt Teminetti kept having to help me with pronunciations of names. And then there was the most hilarious show I do every year, and that's our NHL Awards preview show. You can see where the problem here is.
Yes, all of those Eastern European names.
Yes, Russian names are hilarious for the 3 of us who are white American men trying to pronounce them. So, everyone hear bad pronunciations. Those are 2 shows that came out in June that are hysterical to listen to, and the Broadway ones are now a tradition now. So we're doing another one coming up this year. So, anyway, Buddha. Obviously, everyone knows Buddha. That's an obvious one for Buddhism. And then where are we now? Pablo Neruda, and a Nobel-winning poet, of course. Another one. Noticing a trend here.
Yes.
And by the way, I love the wise-ass person who's in the BuzzFeed article. Dorothy and Toto, the girl in the blue dress from Wizard of Oz and her dog. Come on now. Wise-ass. All right. Now, I'm just trying to see where we are in the songs. I'm just going by the notes on the BuzzFeed thing. What I like about this whole thing, if we're doing all this, meanwhile, okay, do you prefer Maureen being in the song in the movie or not being in the song in the Broadway show?
I mean, I kind of like her being there.
So do I, personally. I like in the movie that she's involved. Because it just kind of feels like she's left out. I know it's the point, really, with things going on in the Broadway show, but I like it better that she's there. And the fact that they can actually have some fun with her there. I think it's more fun that way for me. Because
I think we get a little more of who she and who Maureen and Joann are as a couple
in the movie.
Seeing them in the movie.
Yes, and I like the fact that they're doing their thing, and then we also have Collins and Angel doing their thing.
Right.
Throughout the whole song, which I love. But that transitions to the bisexual, trisexual, homo sapiens, and that's fun. But then the Pee Wee Herman line just drops in here out of nowhere. This kind of drops.
I mean, how many times have we talked about masturbation in this song?
Very true. Very true.
So I mean, not really out of nowhere.
No, but it's just like it just drops in, and I feel like the fact that we listen to a lot of MX shows, and for some reason, Pee Wee Herman comes up a lot. A lot of MX shows for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. But I also love the fact that it says the television alter ego of Paul Rubens. The character was partially retired after Rubens was arrested for indecent exposure. That was 1991? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was that long ago that happened. Yep. Wow. It didn't feel like that long ago. Anyway, German wine turpentine. Where are we?
Gertrude Stein.
Gertrude Stein. Another random name, but did you know this name going in?
Yes.
Okay.
This was one that I had learned also around high school. We talked a lot about poetry in my high school.
I noticed that. Like, you had a lot more education about this stuff in high school than I did.
Yeah. My I think my American literature teacher was very big on poetry.
I'm noticing this. My English teacher didn't care.
Yeah, and I knew of the group that was known as the Algonquin Round Table.
Okay.
Which was a group of poets and novelists and other bon vivants that had sort of this grouping of people in like 1940s New York that were they were the top of society.
Fair enough.
So
here you can have the pronunciations of our next three names:
Antonioni, Bertolucci, Kurosawa. Then the Carmina Burana.
Yes, and these are pretty much we're at people at this point where I feel like Jonathan Larson just said, I'm just going to put down a bunch of people that are related to me in some way.
Yeah,
at this point,
this is really this becomes stream of consciousness at this point.
Like you said, we didn't start the fire. That's what this feels like at this point.
Yeah, right.
I never thought about it that way until you said it. It's a good point. I never thought about that reference. That's a fantastic reference to this song. Because we're really just naming people. That's all we're doing at this point. We're just going to keep naming people as we go along here. And it's fun. Don't get me wrong. But you're right. It is very Billy Joel.
Yeah.
At this point. Because a lot of this stuff makes sense. The apathy to empathy to empathy to ecstasy. And then we just start naming people again.
Right.
But I by the way, this comes up to one of my favorite moments in the Broadway show. It did not do justice in the movie. Which we get to marijuana, and we zoom in on Collins, and the light is on Collins, and he's smoking up marijuana on the stage.
Right.
I do not do that justice in the movie.
It's really just kind of tossed off in the movie.
In the Broadway show, it made a point in the Broadway show, which I love, because it's funny. It's a funny joke. And the fact that it's just there, it just makes it even funnier. To sodomy, it's between God and me. Sure, why not? To S&M, La Vie Boheme.
Yeah. Wow. And that's the point where Benny and his father-in-law have had it.
They're done. They're out. Goodbye.
Yep, they're done.
And that's where, and by the way, I would like to say here, according to BuzzFeed, the rest of La Vie Boheme is fairly reference-free in text.
That's true.
So we will just jump back over to the lyrics and have some fun, because I love this sequence because everyone gets their point to shine.
Yep,
everyone does, and I like that because why not at this point? Like we're all having a party, everyone should have their moments. And we start, I believe, in the Broadway show. They actually changed the order a little bit in the movie because I think Mimi actually comes up a little earlier than she does. which is true. But I actually